Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is David Novak. I'm going to just read a small excerpt from Flowers of Fire by Hawon, Jung. I will omit a couple of paragraphs here. The 1950 to 1953 Korean War, which killed millions and reduced the entire peninsula to ruins, made things worse. Most people struggled just to survive in the following decades. The late Army strongman Park Chung-hee, who ruled from 1962 to 1979, also showed little tolerance for dissent, leaving little room for civic activism. Political activism in particular was a potentially life-threatening undertaking, as those who protested, whether against the army dictatorship or dire labor conditions, were often labeled red commies and quashed. ... South Korea's economy, which had been left in tatters by the war, took off through the 60s and 70s, aided by massive exports of cheap, labor-intensive goods like textiles, wigs, and toys. And nearly 80% of the workers who made this possible, who struggled for up to 20 hours a day in dust-filled sweatshops, often taking stimulants to stay awake, were women, and half of them were teenagers as young as 13. ... And here's a photograph. This is something of a history about feminism in South Korea. It's divided into four main parts. Part one, Me Too with You. Well, the introduction actually talks about the divisions. This book largely portrays the lives of people who led or powered the South Korean feminist movements from 2015 to 2021, which ushered in many monumental legal, social, and cultural challenges. This book shows the battles, both the crushing defeats and the hard-won victories, of these fierce, outspoken women who are trying to change the world. This book is also a testament to the strength and tenacity of many Asian women whose fight for gender equality has remained long overlooked and untold in the West. The first part, Me Too with You, reveals how South Korea's Me Too movement unfolded, with stories of the woman who ignited the campaign, those who joined her, and those who stood in solidarity under the banner With You. The second part, Where Did All the Girls Go?, looks back at those who laid the foundation of women's activism from the late 19th century to the mid-2010s, who together created the momentum that made the Me Too movement possible. The third part, My Life Is Not Your Porn, explains how young activists and victims of digital crimes fought together to build a robust grassroots campaign against tech-based sexual abuse, and how they pushed, with some success, the authorities to act. The fourth and final part, My Body, introduces people who, emboldened by the changes above, started to challenge the patriarchal norms in their daily lives that literally and figuratively bound their bodies. They include women who joined the Escape the Corset movement against sexism over women's appearances, those who campaigned to decriminalize abortion, no marriage women who defy the societal pressure to give birth, and transgender women and men who fight for their rights in a country deeply intolerant of and sometimes openly hostile to sexual minorities. Well, I'll read the last paragraph to the introduction then. The title, Flowers of Fire, was inspired by the Korean word bulkot, which literally translates to fire flower and refers to flame. In South Korean society and elsewhere, women are often treated like flowers, pretty objects of desire to be seen and not heard. But these women have found ways to flare against the everyday sexism they experience. So I chose Flowers of Fire as a metaphor of their ongoing struggles and their indestructible hope. Interestingly, when it comes to the different sorts of spy cams and stuff, here's a photograph of actual confiscated equipment. Quite amazing. So unfortunately, this book has such a queue at the library that it is being called back, and so I will not get any further than I have gotten, which means that the last chapter will go unread for me. I will not count it as one of my yearly reads regardless, because I just skimmed here and there. But I do recommend this very much if you're interested in the subject. Thank you for stopping by my channel.